الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Inshallah, to continue our Halaqa on Sunday, which is going to be based on questions and answers, but this one will be a little different because we were told that the questions are going to be limited in Ramadan. And yes, we have a lot of questions about Ramadan that we may wanna know, inshallah, before the beginning of Ramadan. So لكل مكان مقال. So now I think all the attentions are going to be on Ramadan. And we always ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us reach the month of Ramadan, fasted and pray in it. And we ask Allah to make us among the one who will be forgiven and freed from the hellfire. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let those who are not able to make it, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive them and grant them Jannah. As we did, we've just buried a brother today, and everybody hoped to reach the month of Ramadan, but here we are getting closer and closer and closer. But still, we don't know exactly who's going to make it and who will not make it. So all we can do is to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and let us, inshallah, go through the month of Ramadan and make it easy for us to worship Him the way He wants, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So yesterday and the day before yesterday, we talked about an overview about Ramadan, and maybe questions can be, asked about those things, and I can refresh your mind. We talked about the Ramadan being a pillar, or one of the 5 pillars of Islam. And also we talked about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He commanded all the believers to fast. And there are some who are exempted from fasting for different reasons. We know those people. Some of them are permanently, excused from fasting, and some are temporal on how they're going to make up those fasting that they miss for those who are temporal exempted from fasting. We talked about the time frame of fasting from the break of the dawn till sunset. And we talked about things that break the fast, actions that breaks the fast. We talked about those things. We talked about also the things that will increase the value of your fasting, good things that will increase, the layers on your fasting, which is great. And also we talked about things that will bring your fasting level down. As we said, it might go all the way to no limit, but it might go also down, all the way down to 0. Wal-'iyadhu billah. So these are things that we talked about briefly, and inshallah today we're going to go to the questions and answers, inshallah ta'ala. Naam.
So Sheikh, I have one question. This is regarding while traveling, if we can fast, is it okay to fast? And follow up to that is, if you're able to fast, then what time to follow? Because if you're at one city versus the other and there's time change coming from north to south, then which one to follow?
Yes, so if you are traveling and you are able to fast, you can fast. You can fast, and we brought the hadith that the Sahaba, they said, we used to travel with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, فَمِنَّا صَائِمْ وَمِنَّا مُفْطِرٌ. Some are fasting and some are not fasting. فَلَا يَلْأَمُ عَلَى الصَّائِمِ وَلَا عَلَى الْمُفْطِرِ. The one who's fasting will not be blamed, and the one who is not fasting, who's fasting also will not be blamed. The one who's fasting will not be blamed, and the one who's not fasting will not be blamed. So it was, optional, except when you reach to a level where this fasting become harm upon the person. In this case, you have to break your fast, as the Prophet ﷺ did when this person was affected, by their fasting till they fainted. The Prophet ﷺ broke his fast, and he was not happy with the people who continued. He continued alayhi salatu wassalam. Naam. So, in this case, you can fast if you are in that level. You can break your fast because you are giving the excuse not to fast. So now it comes to the second part of the question. If you are traveling from a city to a city or from country to a country that has different times, your fasting is always based upon your local place of departure. Always. You made suhoor in Madrid. So your fasting is based upon Madison fasting till you reach to your final destination. It's based upon the origin. You might go to the, like for example, if you start your fasting in the morning and you are going towards night, before you reach to your final destination, you are bound with Madison fasting. But as soon as you reach to your final destination, now the rule of those people apply upon you. Will apply upon you. So you break your fast. You break your fast, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah. So if you're basing the fast on Madison time, and let's say for whatever reason you don't have access to the calculations, how would you determine when sunset is? Because you cannot see that. You can only see where you are.
Yeah, so you have to make taqdeer. So the question is, if you are traveling from Madison and you don't have means to calculate, you don't have means to estimate how many hours, do I have to fast, and you didn't reach to your final destination, you have to have a mean to estimate. That's not limited just to a clock. No, that's not the origin. So you have to have a mean to estimate how many hours that I'm fasting. So if you have that, then you break your fast. You break your fast. Let's say I think your question will be, you are in the middle. You didn't reach the final destination and you don't know what time Madison is. So here we make taqdeer. You make taqdeer. If you have a clock, then you see how many hours Madison fast. If you fasted those much hours, then you break your fast till you reach your destination. Sometimes it can be minimum or it can be a lot. If it is minimum, as soon as you reach your final destination and they're breaking their fast, you can break your fast, and there's a bonus for you. If it is maximum, then you have to estimate how many hours Madison are fasting before you reach. You are in the middle. How many hours? If it is too much beyond the limit, then you can break even while the sun is up. If it is beyond the limit. Now. So let's say you are traveling to Medina and you landed in Turkey, for example. Now you are in that place that you are in. You take their time of prayer because you left the country. You take their local time. You leave Turkey, you reach to Medina. You are in Turkey till you reach to Medina. You take Medina's time. And now, alhamdulillah, don't make it difficult on me. You have the clock. Even with no internet, it works. The prayer time comes, so it's easy, inshallah. Yes. Now, but it's very important because people travel a lot. And likewise, the same thing we're saying applies on the prayers. On the prayers. You are on this time, the place that you left, you pray based on their prayers till you reach to the other side. Then you base on your prayers. Because you might pray Fajr here, and then you reach there, another Fajr. So you estimate your prayers here, every 3 hours you pray till you reach there, and then you go regular with their prayers. I hope it's clear. Now.
Okay. Next question, what about the people who deliberately miss fasting?
We talked about it. How about people who intentionally, deliberately miss their fasting? We said if a person intentionally break their fast or not to fast, even if they fast the whole entire rest of their life, they cannot make up for that day. Now, because that was one day that was made for you to fast 30 days a month or 29 days a month. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He picked people and He said, you cannot fast, your excuse. You cannot fast, your excuse. But you make it up. But you intentionally miss your fasting. You intentionally miss your fasting. Yes, you may fast to catch up, but you cannot have that day that you missed. You cannot have that day that you missed forever. Now, yes, but you have to make up, but for that day, it will not come. Because every day that goes, it comes with something and it goes, it doesn't come back. That's the reason why what was in for the day of the person who missed the fasting with the excuse, that will be kept and brought back to them while they are fasting. But that day that you miss is gone. As in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, every day that comes will go back and it will never come back. So it will be witness for what was done in it on the day of judgment. So the days, they look like 24 hours, but they are different. Every Friday that comes will not come back. That Friday is gone and waiting to bear witness on the day of judgment what we have done in that Friday. What we have done in that Friday. So the day in Ramadan, they're also unique, they're special. When they come, we fast them, and when we miss them with the excuse that we have, then we still will have the blessings, inshallah. But if it is gone, there is no way. Now.
So I have a question here. Can the blank person hear the people to go to or can the dead person hear the people when they go to the grave? That's not okay.
Okay, we're just gonna answer it, inshallah. People die in Ramadan also. So let's make it relevant. So can a dead person hears the people who are burying the alive people? Yes. You know, it was narrated in authentic hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if the dead person being buried in their grave, as soon as their sand is covered on this person, the angels will come and they will set him. They will reinstall the ruh, and he will start hearing even people who are walking around or leaving. He will hear their footsteps, but there will be no communication. There will be no communication, and they will sit him and ask him, who's your Lord and who's your messenger, what is your religion? And if they do good by responding to those questions, Allah will bless them. Allah will make their grave to be rawdah min riyadil jannah. But if they miss, if they don't pass that exam, if they cannot answer those questions, then their grave will be hufra min hufar nar. It will be a hole or a tunnel that is connected to the hellfire, that brings their heat directly from the hellfire. Wal-iyadu billah. So the grave is either rawdah min riyadil jannah or hufra min hufar nar. Either rawdah, which is a garden, nice place in Jannah, from Jannah, bringing the good things from Jannah, or a tunnel that brings the heat from the hellfire. Wal-iyadu billah. Yes, they will hear. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said in another hadith, if a person is in their grave and they are receiving the punishment, they will be screaming and crying, and everything will hear their screams except a human being and a jinn. A human being and a jinn. Yes, there is life underneath the earth. Now,
what is the authentic dua to break fast?
The authentic dua to break fast, generally we can say all dua is allowed in the general hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Inna lis-sa'imi da'watun la turad, wa dhalika 'inda fitrihi." A fasting person has a dua that will not be rejected, and that is when they are breaking their fast. So will generalize any dua that you want to make a dua. But there's authentic, there are so many hadiths, but the most authentic one is when the Prophet ﷺ say, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وَثَبَتَ الْأَجْرُ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. So this also is a dispute around it. Is it after you break your fast or while you're breaking your fast? But authentically is after you break your fast. Because it means ذهب الظمأ. The thirst has gone. So, وَابْتَلَتِ الْعُرُوقُ, the veins has like recovered, right? وَثَبَتَ الْأَجْرُ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. And the reward, we ask Allah to accept and place the reward for us. So that is, some will do it before they break the fast, some will do it after they break the fast. But that is what the Prophet ﷺ used to say when he break his fast. So while breaking or after breaking, you can do it in both, but you make a specific dua for yourself. Some people, they say Allahumma laka sumtu, but it's unfortunate that the hadith is not authentic. Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu wa bika amantu faghfir lima qaddamtu wa ma akhart. All these things, it's not a problem to make a dua, but you cannot confirm that the Prophet said it. Yeah, that's where the problem is. So the dua is not limited, but saying that this is sunnah, that's where the problem is. The Prophet didn't do that. He used to say ذهب الظمأ, but alhamdulillah, he made the general dua. He made the general hadith that said you can make a dua. You can make a dua. So you can make any dua that you want, inshallah. After you break your fast, inshallah, now the thirst is gone, you can say ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر inshallah. And if you said before also, there's no problem with it, inshallah. But it's more appropriate to say it after you drink. Now.
So there's a hadith, whoever eats garlic or onions should keep away from us or mosques or stay home. And so the question is regarding this hadith, how do we make sure that our masjid is clean and smells good, inshallah, with iftar, so we don't harm the angels?
I think this is the best question ever today. Yes, it shows you what the Prophet likes in a masjid. He said, if a person eats garlic, and I have to be specific, uncooked garlic, فَلْيَعْتَزِلْ مَسْجِدَنَا أو مُصَلَّانَا, let them be away from our masjid. They said, the Sahaba, we used to escort a person, take him out from the masjid all the way to Baqiyah because they're smelling garlic. Right? Garlic is good, as is, Umar used to call it shajar al-khabitha. Don't get me wrong, if you cook without garlic, it's not going to taste good. Right? But the Prophet, the reason why it's not the garlic itself. Chew garlic and get close to a person. I'm very sensitive. I will just sick the whole entire day. So imagine today, if we just grab one person, we say, brother, you ate garlic and it's smelling. We should take you out. How is that going to happen? A big problem, right? I don't want to. Mustafa. I think that's why they said Mustafa is strict. Right? Like, okay, let's say garlic. Beyond that, they said you're strict, but I like it. So, but pretend like we are not in the same page. So, garlic. The Prophet ﷺ, he doesn't like people to eat garlic without cooking it, come to his masjid. That's a statement. And he said, ﷺ, before you go to pray, take care of your breath. And that can be from garlic, it can be from cigarette, it can be from negligence. Yeah, from onions or anything. Or actually not taking care of your mouth. Right? And we have brothers who, when they will give you gum. Yahya, he gives me gum when he knows that things are not going right. Right? Right? And sometimes you have a long day but it shows you how much we neglect to follow the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. How much, wallah. And it shows you how good the Prophet alayhi salatu and how clean he was alayhi salatu wasalam. Whenever you see him, he will have his miswak, his mirror, and his comb. All the time, he will have it in his pocket, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he will make siwak in each salah. He would not pray without having a clean miswak. Who does that today? Not in our community. Every 5 daily prayers, Uthman, mashallah, sometimes, mashallah, Uthman. That's a very strong sunnah. So, that's one. He will make sure that if you brush 5 times a day, or every wudu that, and he said in a hadith, authentic hadith, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك مع كل صلاة ومع كل wudu. If it was not to make it hard on my nation, I will command them. I'll make it fard to make a miswak in each salah that they pray, or in each wudu that they're doing. So it was a very strong sunnah. So now we can see the reason why he prohibited garlic, or he stopped, or he disliked the person who chew garlic to come to the masjid. Number one is one thing: the smell, the bad smell. And anything that is not garlic but has the same impact that garlic has will be given the same ruling, qiyasan. Will be giving the same ruling. Cigarette will be given the same ruling. One day I get almost sick. This is ذكر يعني مساوئ الناس لكن الحقيقة. I hope no one is smoking here. And if you're smoking, just be patient with us. Wallahi, that person was smoking. And I prayed, and I luckily have my shimar. And the imam was leading. He made the salah so long. I wish he just made the sujood or ruku'. The cigarette was so strong, brothers. And I felt sorry for myself. I felt sorry for the person next. But I felt sorry for his friend who doesn't smoke. I feel sorry for his wife, maybe, who may not like the cigarette. It's just too much. If the harm was just on you, it's okay. But the best deed is the one that the benefit extend to others. The worst sin is when the harm of that sin is extending to harm others. And that's what it is. It's not harming you only, but it's harming other people. Yes, that's one of the part. One thing he didn't like, alayhi salatu wasalam, he doesn't like you to bother or to hurt or to harm people who are around you. And within the people, within the creation the creatures who are around you, the angels. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, al-malaika tata'azza. The angels, they get harmed. بما تأذى به البشر or nas. What harmed the angels, what harmed the people in breath, in bad breath, it also affects the angels. Imagine an angel next to you is just praying for the salah to be over, so he can go his way. Because he's bound with you, your praying has to be there, and now you are definitely giving that angel a hard time. And whenever you give the brother next to you a hard time, of course the angel is going to be suffering next to you. So then yes, we should really, today we're talking about cigarette, myself and Muhammad and, the other brother Muhyiddin, talking about like cigarette. You go to some holy cities, you see people smoking everywhere. You go to Makkah, people smoking everywhere. You go to Medina, people smoking everywhere. I think it's not good. Even if we say it's not haram, but the breath is really bad and it hurt people, And I saw a city in Senegal, which is called Touba. Cigarette is prohibited in that city. It's prohibited completely. You cannot see even a drop of cigarette. No, you cannot smell cigarette when you go there. So I wish that could be applied in major Muslim, I don't want to say the name, but major Muslim cities, right? At least they should give respect to that city, that they should avoid smoking. And just the smoke itself is just really bad. If you are talking about people who said, is not prohibited. But the smell is really, not everybody likes the smell. Now, of course, how can we keep our masjids clean? That is very important, and we neglect that. And that is, number one is people who attend the masjid. Like, okay, we can have somebody who is hired to clean the masjid, but that doesn't prevent to take advantage of the reward of cleaning the masjid. The Prophet ﷺ, in his time, there was a lady. She dedicated herself to clean the masjid. Every day before Fajr, before the Prophet comes, she will clean the masjid. After they are left, everyone who is in the masjid, she will make sure the masjid is clean. One day, you think that she's very humble, she doesn't do it, people see it, but Prophet ﷺ is observing her, knowing exactly the masjid is being clean, and the one who's cleaning it is so and so. One day he came, he sees some rough things in the masjid, and he asked, where is the lady who used to clean the masjid? They said, she died in night and we buried her. And he said, let's go to her grave. And he went in her grave and made another salat janazah on the grave. Ikraman laha, to honor that lady and to honor what she was doing. And Maryam, alayhi salam, what was Maryam's job? Maryam's job was to take care of a masjid. And we can simply say, Allah blessed Maryam taking care of a masjid. That was Maryam's job before Isa came. That was Maryam's job. And Zakaria will come to her and ask her, Anna laki hada. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored her to a point, Allah will give her fruits from different seasons. It's a mango season, Allah will give her banana, for example. Different seasons. And all of them are there. And Zakaria was amazed. Maryam, you're not a farmer. And this was supposed to happen in this month. Is it hada min? من أين لك هذا؟ قال هو من عند الله. Subhanallah. هو من عند الله. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can simply say, as some of their mufassirin said, it's from Jannah. من عند الله, right? من عند الله. إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. Whatever you do in a masjid with your hand is a barakah. But sometimes we see, okay, I don't want to clean the masjid. Don't clean it. Other people will clean it. And when they clean it, they will obtain the barakah. One day the Prophet ﷺ, he came to his masjid and he found lights. You can call them like chandeliers, right? Lights, beautiful. He said, Man anara masjidana? Who brought these lights to our masjid? They said, so and so brought the lights to our masjid. Because the guy, he went to Sham and he saw these lights. There was no light in the masjid. When they come, it's dark. They all just look at where's the line and then they pray and then they go. That's it, no lights. So this guy, he brought these lights and put them there. When he saw it, he was so happy, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, Man anara masjidana? Who brought the light in our masjid? They said, so and so. The Prophet made a dua for him. He called him, he was so happy. And they used to call him, Munir al-Masjid, the one who brightened the masjid of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah wants you to build a masjid and tabnuha. Wa tusallu fiha. Wa tahtanu biha. Build them, pray on them, and take care of them. Take care of them. And he said, if a person takes, qumama, a trash from the masjid, and take it away from the masjid, Allah will build a house for you in Jannah. Allah will build a house for you in Jannah. So sometimes you see a trash there, we pass, second person will pass, third person will pass, and they are passing their Jannah. Wallahi, they are passing their Jannah. Or we eat here, everything is there and it's coming. What I like about this is, I will say it and it will happen. And unabbi'ukum. And I will say it will happen. We'll put the iftar, inshallah, or the suhoor is done. You will have few people who don't care who is cleaning and who's not cleaning. They will make sure it's clean and clean and clean and clean. And everybody is sitting and looking. It's as if they don't want Jannah. And the reason why they came, it was Jannah, right? And now the Jannah is right there. So then don't wait. There's part of being very humble. It's part of being very humble. The Prophet ﷺ, and you can say, oh, I'm the Shaykh, I'm not going to clean. The Prophet ﷺ, one day was traveling with the Sahaba. They were hungry, they slaughtered a sheep. One said, I will cook. One said, I will slaughter. One said, I will cook it. I will skin it. And he looked around. There were three. He said, وَعَلَيَّ جَمْعُ الْحَطَبِ. Then it's for me to go and find the firewoods. The Prophet ﷺ, everybody took his part. He said, yes, I will do something also. I will go and bring the firewoods. So everybody do something. But whenever we start identifying people who are supposed to be cleaning, the masjid will never clean. How about if they're not there on that day? And you cook, you eat, and you don't want to clean it. No, that's not appropriate in the masjid. The masjid has to be clean and has to smell good. The reason why it has to smell good, the Prophet ﷺ, one day when Jumu'ah used to come, and the Sahaba will come from Ulayya, they will come from their workplace. The masjid will be packed, and of course, they're working, hard works. They'll come to the masjid, and when it's hot and everybody's sweating, the masjid will smell not good. He said, he brought the ruling of the sunnah of ghusl Yawm al-Jumu'ah. He said, if you prepare and make a ghusl Yawm al-Jumu'ah, and also you take a cologne, a perfume, and put it on, you come to Jumu'ah, this is much reward you have. The Sahaba, they will get off early, go home, take a shower, put a attar, and come to the masjid. All that is the masjid to smell good. To smell good. Of course, I think it's good, even if you don't bring the oud or the attar in the masjid. If you do a nice, I'm not taking cheap attar, okay? All the cheap attars, they make me sick. And they make many people sick. If you want attar, consult with that guy, Hussam. If you want good attar, consult with him. He knows all the good ones. All the good ones. Allah Azza wa Khair. He gives me very good ones. So, if you do a good one that is really expensive, that will not be allergic to anybody. It's good, inshallah. They put effort on it. But if you just buy a cheap one, very cheap one, don't do it. Anybody, just buy the very good ones. And when you come to the masjid, even your area, this line and this line, wallahi, they feel alive. They feel like, this guy, mashallah. That's what we need, right? I remember in some masjid, they would do bukhur. But in this masjid, we are very sensitive. Oh, I'm allergic to this. Okay, that's why we said don't do it, right? But Abdul Wali, mashallah, he still do the bukhur here and there. The masjid, and I had the imam who came here. I'm not going to mention his name. I think I shouldn't say this. This is in recorded. Al-Muhim. Now, so, yes, the masjid, everybody have to hold on to the cleanliness of the masjid. If we see a chair that is not appropriate, just fix it. Wallahi, whatever you do in this masjid, in any other masjid, you will be rewarded. And it's a blessing, it's a barakah for you. Now, yes, the masjid should be very, very clean. Ramadan is coming. Ramadan is coming. Ramadan is coming. Let's make sure we all work together. But if you eat all the way, I think it's not fair, but I will stop here. Inshallah.
Okay.
Nah.
So first of all, the hadith of the Prophet that we should do this right before each salah.
Mm-hmm.
Does this apply to the 5 fara'id or any salah?
Any salah, any wudu. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the salah and the wudu. So there are two things. There are two riwayat. When he said, if it wasn't like to make it difficult on my nation, I will command them to make miswak in each salah, in each wudu. So that will just solve the problem. Each wudu you want to make, you make a siwak. Because there are so many sunan that are connected to the wudu. The miswak. If you go to the sunan of the wudu, miswak is part of it. And also, if you go, it will be, the sunan around the wudu, such as 2 rak'ah, the sunnah of Bilal, radiyallahu an. So yes, each salah and each wudu. But it's not sunnah, it's a sunnah. It's a sunnah.
So, and this includes the rawatib. So, for example, if I pray 2 rakat before Fajr and then Fajr, do I do once or twice?
Yes, that's the reason why they will have it. No, they have it in, the ulama, they will have it in their pockets. Each prayer, you will see them, and then they put it back. So, amr wasi' yani, wasi', but, if people say each prayer, then this is how they implement it. If they say maybe just 5 daily prayers, this is how they implement it. But just pulling it and putting it in your mouth and moving it, that should be enough for you to implement that sunnah. Yeah, for people who say that. Because in the madahibs, if you drink anything that has a taste, before you pray the other prayer, you have to wash your mouth. That's even in the madahib, in all 4 madahibs. If you drink anything that has taste, different taste, that's not water, before you pray, you have to wash it. You have to wash your mouth. Yeah, some of them just say wash, but then siwak will be the sunnah that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. But they say you don't pray, it's makruh, min makruhat is-salah, to pray after eating, not washing your mouth, or after drinking something that is tasty before you wash your mouth. Now, tea is tasty.
Make sure to repeat the question when...
Now.
And then the second follow-up question is, you said, if you have raw onion, raw garlic, then, if you keep that, you shouldn't come to this. So, one thing that I've noticed is sometimes someone during iftar will bring a salad or something that has raw onion in it. So, this is a problem, I guess. How do we deal with it?
I love... So he said, some people in iftar, they bring... Actually, raw garlic or onion shouldn't be brought to the masjid at all. Because eating it is... So, if you break it, it becomes a problem. I'm not putting a rule. I'm just, I'm not saying it's haram to bring onion in the masjid, okay? Because some people, they cook in the masjid. But what he's mentioning is that if you have like raw onion in a salad, you eat it, okay, you have to go wash, and that doesn't go away easily. That's why the Prophet, he didn't say, go wash it, go wash your mouth. He said, go out of the masjid. So then I think in the iftar, for those who sign up for the iftar, if you do salad, we love salad, inshallah, but just avoid garlic and onions to put it there, inshallah. So Umar, he used to say, kill the garlic before you eat it, come to the masjid, which means you cook it. That's how you kill it. Naam. It's a very good tree, it's a very good spice, but yeah. No. Nah.
So the next question is, this is 2 parts. First is, please clarify the misunderstanding about the 27th. That 27th night is the Laylatul Qadr. And the second is, please talk more about jaza in Jannah for people who complete fasting.
Nah. So, the 27th, we cannot say it's not Laylatul Qadr. And we cannot say is Laylatul Qadr. So there are 3 opinions when it comes to Laylatul Qadr. First one is, of course, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, I knew it, but I forgot. And seek it in the last 10 nights. And even beyond that, he said, and is on the odd nights in the month of Ramadan, last 10 nights. So that will shrink it, right? It's not 20th, right? It's not 22nd. It's not 24th, it's not 26th, right? So now it's going to be either 21st, right? Or 23rd, 5th and 7th, or 29th, right? So here, the ulama, they made tatabbu'. They observed the Prophet ﷺ. Some clearly said there is no doubt that today was Laylatul Qadr. And that happened on 27th. Another Sahabi observed the Prophet ﷺ on the 23rd. And he will say, there is no doubt that this is Laylatul Qadr because it's ijtihad. Another year, somebody observe and see 29th, and they will say, this is. And those Sahaba, they will narrate that. They will say, today is Laylatul Qadr. And that narration will go. To combine that, the ulama who combine that, they come to the conclusion that they said, Laylatul Qadr moves within these 10 nights, 10 odd nights. It can be 27th this month, and it will move and shift to another night, 23rd or 21st or 25th or 29th in the month of Ramadan. So every year is not the same night. It moves from this night to the night. And that's what I found very makes sense, because if you look at the Sahaba who did it, everybody, if you ask them, they'll say, the way I saw the Prophet was making ijtihad. And some of them even he said, he saw the Prophet ﷺ walking and kind of avoiding. And we know that tanazzalul malaikatu war ruh, right? The angels, they fill the earth. So if he's doing that, he might have access to see the angels, right? But for us, we don't. So that Sahabi will just make his ijtihad and say, today is it. And it happens to us. It happens to us. Sometimes you see some signs, some feelings, you say, today is Laylatul Qadr. And beyond that, we'll have signs that are authentic, and it's not denied. Somebody say, oh, if it rains, if it cool. No. If this is the Fajr time till sunset, or when sunset, how it is, these are one of the things that the ulama, they said, these are the indications or the signs of this past night was the night of Al-Qadr. But all this doesn't make a difference. What the Prophet did, he said, Huruha. If the Prophet was to give, he gives the best. And he gave the best. He said, is in the last 10 nights. And he did not focus even on only the odd nights, but he worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all the 10 last nights more than what he did in the first 10 and the second 10. And he said, seek it in the last 10 nights. So if somebody comes and say, only 27th, I have no argument with you, but my sincere advice will be, just try to do all of them. How about if your whole entire life is just focusing on 27th, and you never get the chance in your lifetime for it to be on the 27th? You miss the whole thing. But I know that 10 nights is not a lot. You just have to sit and keep saying, as Aisha used to say, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'afu anni. Not even a lot. Then that worship in that night will be greater and better than 1,000 months. So then we should not be just trying to take a shortcut. Wallahi, if there was a shortcut, the Prophet, he loves to give us what is the best and easier. And the best he did. He tried, alayhi salatu wasalam, to pinpoint Laylatul Qadr, but Allah didn't want that. So the best that he could was, it's in the last 10 nights. It's going to be in the odd nights. I think he almost gave it to us. So let's not just focus on one night, but it become a habit. It become a habit that every masjid you go, 27th, that's it. 27th, they make khatma 27th. 27th, the masjid is full, and then the next day no one is there, and there's a chance 29th is there, and they might miss it. So let's just try to make sure that the 27th, the whole entire 10 nights, we work on, striving. The Prophet, he'll make i'tikaf in the last 10 nights for the purpose of ibadah, to catch that night. He will, stop having relationship with his wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he will increase ijtihad in the last 10 nights. So I think that should be a very good example for us not to limit ourselves, and that's what the Sahaba also did. Naam. What is the last part?
So the second part was talk more about the jaza in Jannah for people who complete fasting.
The jaza for the people who complete fasting, if they accept it, is Jannah. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-Jannah إن الجنة ثمان أبواب. Jannah has 8 gates. He said within those 8 gates, Bab يسمى ريان. There's a gate among those gates that's called Rayyan. He said this gate لا يدخل الجنة من هذا الباب إلا الصائمون. People, no one will go to Jannah through that gate except the people who are fasting. We can simply say that gate was created by Allah just for the people who will fast completely and go to that gate. He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, if the last fasting person who is qualified to enters, it will be locked. No one will go to Jannah through that gate. Then that is, the reward will be, inshaAllah ta'ala, to be in Jannah. If a person completes the fasting with, inshaAllah, as the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, we can point few things that the person will have it, and all those things, they are pouring to the maslah of Jannah. Number one, he said alayhi salatu wasalam, Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. If a person fasts the month of Ramadan based on iman and hope the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will forgive their sins. So what is the ultimate catch in the sins when they are forgiven? It's Jannah, right? It's getting closer to Jannah. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you might be pious. The pious ones are the people of Jannah. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he also said, if a person fasts one day in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, مَنْ صَامَ يَوْمًا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بَعَدَ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُ بَيْنَ 70 خَرِيفًا. If a person fasts one day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will take that person away from the hellfire 70 خَرِيفًا. 70 seasons. That is a lot. So all this is poured in Jannah. Then the fasting person, inshaAllah ta'ala, if accepted, they're going to go to Jannah. InshaAllah ta'ala. The ultimate goal for fasting is Jannah. InshaAllah. We ask Allah to make us among those people. No. It's 45. It's 8:30? The Iqamah. 45. We wait. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, people who are accepted from giving zakat, who are exception from zakat, can they still pay from the little bit they save from earning?
Yes. So this zakah, there is sadaqah. If the zakah has conditions, and those 2 conditions are, 1, the wealth itself has conditions. That wealth, it has to reach a nisab. Nisab is the minimum amount that will qualify the wealth for zakah. That's 1. When you have it, it has to stay for whole year round. Then what is the zakah that due for it's not belong to you anymore. It's not optional. You have to take that amount and give it away. It's not optional. If you consume it, you're consuming hellfire. That's 1. 2 is, if you don't have it, can you still give zakah? No, you don't have to give zakah. But is the door of zakah closed? No. It's just like if you pray dhuhr, do you have to pray dhuhr again? It's gone. So if you cannot give zakah, you don't have to give zakah. But the little bit that you have, you give sadaqah. You give sadaqah, you give charity, inshaAllah. Because the zakah has a reward, but it has consequences if you don't give it. But the sadaqah has a reward, and if you don't give it, it doesn't have consequences.
When can you give your zakah?
When
can you give your zakah? You can give your zakah whenever the zakah is due. That's the time that you're supposed to be giving it. Let's say you start saving January, for example, or Muharram, for example. Then it reached the nisab, then your zakah is due next Muharram. But you can go around it and try to give it in Ramadan, it's okay. As long as there's a chance of delay, you can delay the zakah, and you can even give it up front. Sometimes you can do that. But make sure that you are given for the whole entire year, and you have to count the months. and it's based on the lunar calendar also. So you give it zakah all year round.
And then when is the cutoff time for that?
He's asking about this.
The nisab. No. When it's overdue.
The cutoff time, like it's before Eid, correct?
No. That zakat al-fitr. So this is zakat al-mal. So this is the zakah for the wealth. So I think you're asking zakat al-fitr. Zakat al-fitr is connected to fasting. So whenever people break their fast, before they go to musalla, they have to give zakat al-fitr. So that is due in the morning of the Eid or a day or two, and the time, the cutoff time is before the imam stands in the minbar and give khutbah. If you give before that, you have fulfilled the zakat al-fitr. If you give it after the khutbah, then it's just like sadaqah. It's not going to qualify to, fix the shortcomings that you have in Ramadan. It's going to be sadaqah that you'll be rewarded, because zakat al-fitr is something that was done to adjust and fix the things that you may miss in the month of Ramadan, while during the day it can reconstruct it, it can fix it.
So that's not far to give.
It's a farad. It's a farad. In the hadith, the Prophet hadith ibn Abbas said, farada Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam zakat al-fitr ala kulli muslimin wa muslimatin, dhakarin wa untha, and the hadith goes on. Yes, na'am. But if you have it, if you don't, then it's not a fard anymore. Na'am.
So those are all the questions that are online. We'll just open it up to floor if anyone else wants to ask.
Yes, one question, inshallah. Na'am.
So for zakat al-mal, some people think that the year comes so if you pay zakat on the 10th of Ramadan, then they have to wait for the 10th of Ramadan to next year.
Yes.
Is that what completes the year, or they can do any time of the month?
Any time of the month. But the counting will start on the 10th. Yeah, but let's say your zakah is due, for example, in Shawwal, for example. And then you say, oh, I'm giving it in Ramadan. You can do that. So you can give it before, or you can delay it also, based on the maslaha, but not taharruban. It's not like you are playing a game. Like if it is more beneficial to give it at that time and more rewarding, you can do that. Nah. Zakat for land. If it is business, yes. If it is not business, no. So let's say somebody is buying land and for investment, you buy land in the purpose of investing it, then that zakah is there. But if you buy a place to live, it's just like a jewelry that women they have. If they are buying it for investment, yes, they have to give zakah out of it every year. And if they're not, they cannot give zakah out of it. If they are just buying it for wearing, even if it is a lot, but if the purpose was to wear, it's not a problem. But if it was for investment, to hide it, and then the value goes up, zakah will do on it. Right? So the land, let's say you buy a land. This year you buy a land, and you pay like $50,000 on the land. That $50,000 is investment. Balagh al-nisab. You sell the land next day or next year, the whole entire amount, it becomes a zakah is due on it. You take 2.5 from that and give it away. And give it for zakah. Let's say it stays like 10 years and the land value become like, the higher it become, it's just one nisab, and then you take out of it. Or you can wait till you sell it. Let's say you sit, because if you want to value the land every and give zakah, it's going to be the same as if you wait till you sell it. It's the same. It's just optional. You can wait till the right time you want to sell it, you sell it and you give zakah out of the money that you sold. If you don't want to wait, then every you value the land and then you give zakah for the land, before you sell it. But if it is something you want to live in, you don't have to give zakah on it, inshallah ta'ala. واضح? Huh? Yep. So, okay, that's good. This question will be, if a person owe zakah, or if person has zakah, they did not take it out till they die, then few factors will come. Was he running away from the zakah? That his waratha, people who inherit him, they have to work on making that for him, fixing it. But if they don't, they are not sinful. They are not sinful. The person who was running away, who was playing games, he is the one who's sinful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So they just hide it. That include, the dhahab and the fidda. فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and the zakah. فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Give them a glad tidings of a very severe and painful punishment. يَوْمَ يُحْمَى عَلَيْهَا فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ فَتُكْوَى بِهَا جِبَاهُمْ. Allah will transform that wealth that they hide to an iron, and then there will be iron on the hellfire. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. So that's number one. You refuse to give and you die. Number two is you have the plans to give, but maybe you have the land somewhere, you don't have access to it to sell it, and all those things. When this happens, the obligations fall upon the waratha. You are not obligated. The obligation falls upon the waratha. Before they do any mirath, they have to give the zakah, or if there's any loan, they have to give it first, then they do the mirath. Get it? Okay. Final question.
You have cash when you didn't invest, when you just catch that.
The same. Yes, invest, not invest. Cash is nicer to give zakah. Because the cash is easier. You have cash, it's in the bank all year round, you have to give zakah. So the zakah is not linked to anything, it's linked to the wealth, amount of the wealth that you have. Let it be a garden, let it be a shop, let it be cash. As long as it reached nisab and it has all year round.
No, I mean like you have a cash on the side and you're not using it, but it's just there.
Yes, it's innocent, but zakah is due on it. So that's not business. So let's say you have money. You have $10,000 in the bank. You didn't use it, you're saving it. You have to give zakah out of it. You have to give zakah out of it. You have to give zakah out. If you invest it, it grows, that's nisab. If you have $10,000 today, for example, you invest it, next it might be $20,000. So the zakah will be different because you invested on it, right? So the amount of the zakah this year will be different than the zakah that you're going to give next year. But if you keep it this year 10,000 and next year 10,000, the zakah is going to be the same thing. It's going to be 2.5 from the 10,000 zakah this year. It's going to be 2.5 from the zakah percent from the zakah next year because it's that amount. So it doesn't matter if it's for business, investment, savings. All applies. Zakah applies on it. Ibrahim, go get the savings, brother. Okay, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward us, and we ask Him to let us reach the month of Ramadan. We ask Him to forgive our sins, cover our shortcomings. اللهم اجعل هذا الجمع جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا محروما وصلى الله وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.